Welcome to another release of the SaferAfrica e-learning course. My name is Eduard Fernandez and I'm working in CITA, the International Motor Vehicle Inspection Committee. You can send any feedback or question about this subject to me using the email address at the end of this presentation. The session we are going to see today is within the Module 6, Safe Vehicles. This is the fourth session of this module and the title is Technical Control and Inspection. Today's presentation is split in three main subjects. First, we are going to talk about the life of vehicles and the legal framework during that life. This is to be followed by what to take into account to ensure that vehicles fulfill some minimal technical conditions during their whole life. And to end, the main concepts will be summed up in the final conclusion. Let's start then with the first section, the life of a vehicle. As everything, vehicles degrade because of lease, aging and use. If the owner of the vehicle does not carry out the right maintenance, vehicle fall between acceptable fitness condition. That happens regardless of the economic wealth of the country. The typical amount of vehicles not fulfilling periodical inspection in Europe is between 20 and 25%. On the screen you can see the reference to the Autofour report. This is one of the main concepts highlighted in that European Commission project. But many other things may happen during the life of a vehicle that may be involved in their roadworthiness. The vehicle may be modified, both for fun, the so-called tuning, and for practical reasons, for example, converting a van into an ambulance. It is usual that vehicles change of ownership with or without the need of a new registration. Some authorities consider that an impartial inspection protects buyers of used vehicles. Vehicles also have breakdowns from time to time, and regardless of the predictive maintenance. Those breakdowns are reported, and the quality of repairs and spare parts is essential for road safety. In some cases, the vehicle may be used in different ways. This is the change of use. A standard passenger can normally have less use than a taxi or a rental car. This is as well to be considered in roadworthiness schemes. Vehicles should also be submitted to regular maintenance, again with an impact on the fitness. And indeed, unfortunately, vehicles are involved in crashes. Authorities shall look for the fitness of vehicles until they are scrapped at the end of their life, or they leave the country to be registered elsewhere. In addition, something important to highlight is that the same approach is also valid for the environmental aspects of the vehicle. Vehicle compliance involves both safety and environmental protection. We have seen, just in the last slide, that many things happen during the life of a vehicle. Bearing that in mind, what should be the target of roadworthiness program? As you can see on this slide, the aim is to ensure that the fitness of new vehicles is kept when justified during the whole life of the vehicle. The part where justified, it's an important hint. Keeping vehicles as new during their use is not realistic, and any roadworthiness scheme has to allow some acceptable deterioration. The whole concept involving the ideas of the previous slide is continuous compliance. This concept of continuous compliance is essential to improve road safety and air quality while dealing with fleet performance. Continuous compliance means that vehicles shall be roadworthy during their whole life, with the deterioration allowance mentioned in the previous slide. No need to say that continuous compliance is a long-term target, but it has to be kept in mind when designing periodical inspection programs. And what's the benefit of all that? Vehicle inspection burdens individuals with an additional obligation. Is it sufficient? One may argue that accident analyses are not detecting that much impact of vehicle fitness in accidents. There are several reasons for that. First, accident analyses are not always accurate. They require a high degree of expertise, time and resources. The priority in case of accidents is, and must be, to take injured people to the hospital and to clear the road. Second, accident analyses are in many cases driven by insurance companies. The target is to find what caused the accident and who is responsible. When aiming to find out what caused the accident, passive safety systems may be missed. When the target is to find responsibilities among the users of the road, vehicle fitness may have a lower priority. Third reason, finding out technical failures of a vehicle in the chain of an accident causation is expensive. And fourth, some of the accident analysis reports are simplistic and only identify a single reason, whereas accidents are usually the result of a chain of causation factors. Altogether, it is not strange that vehicle fitness is not properly represented in traditional accident analysis. Fortunately, there are examples that allow us to have more accurate information. In some cases, there is the chance to compare road safety after and before the introduction of a vehicle inspection scheme. Let's see some examples. In the screen, you can see crash figures from Spain. The periodical inspection of moped, that are motorcycles, was introduced between 2007 and 2010, depending on each region. The impact in road safety is remarkable. The table compares figures before and after PTI, periodical technical inspection. You can see there is a small decrease in the fleet. In the previous period, mopeds were 7.5% of the complete fleet, and afterward that share fell to 6.38%. Before vehicle inspection, mopeds were related to the 30.67% of road fatalities in cities, whereas afterwards that figure was reduced to less than an 8%. A similar behavior can be found with injured, starting on almost 41% and dropping to less than 18%. Out of the cities, the figures also fall, but not that much, since that kind of vehicle is mainly used in urban areas. As you can see in this case, the impact of vehicle inspection is remarkable. Let's go to another example, in this case Costa Rica, a middle-income country. In 2003, the inspection was managed by a single company after being undertaken by repair workshops. The supervision of authorities and the technical requirement was very much updated with that change. According to the data of COSEBI, the governmental agency in charge of road safety, crashes dropped by almost 40%, and that was kept quite stable the following years. Again, another quite interesting example of the impact of vehicle inspection in road safety. More examples in other countries. In Belgium, and from a cost and benefit perspective, it was found that inspection vans and light trucks on a yearly basis brings benefits more than 8 times higher than the cost. And in Turkey, comparing data before and after the setup of the current vehicle inspection system concludes that PTI, periodical technical inspection, has reduced crash impact in a 12%. Again, we can see that benefits of periodical inspection have a role to play in a comprehensive policy of road safety. And of course, and this is quite important, there are additional benefits from the environmental side to be considered. Again, vehicle inspection programs are not only for road safety but as well for environmental protection. So we have seen so far what happens during the life of vehicles and which the impact of roadworthiness schemes is. Let's move on with the next section, what to take into account when designing a vehicle inspection scheme. Something important to bear in mind. Vehicle inspection is a public task. The role of authorities is essential. Indeed, an important part of the activity may be outsourced to private companies, but it remains a governmental representative. And this is because of several reasons. First, roadworthiness schemes are mandatory. They don't work in a voluntary basis. Second, since it's mandatory, it requires enforcement, which is always an expression of authority. And third, the whole society looks for the benefit of periodical inspection, whereas the individual bringing his or her vehicle to inspection may be tempted to a less rigorous approach. Some additional important concepts as well to keep in mind. Vehicle inspection is an activity with impact in society. When talking about the standards for new vehicles, stakeholders are car manufacturers, whereas individuals are the stakeholders in the case of vehicle inspection. Society uses and behaviors are different in each country of the world. The design of a vehicle inspection scheme must consider specificities of the country where it is applied. This means that there are not solutions off the shelf. Also, it may be some inspiration in the best practices of other countries. And indeed, vehicle inspection is a technical activity. In this regard, there is more uniformity around the world. Yes, one may say that a top-end car sold in a high-income country with some automated driving functions is not the same that a 25-year-old van without electronic systems used somewhere else. Both vehicles indeed are different, but they keep a lot of concepts in the same way. In summary, a good approach when designing vehicle inspection schemes is to adopt technical solutions already used in best case countries and to carefully think on how to design the system in the most effective way for each given society. What then to take into account? On the screen you can see a list of aspects to consider. The following slides are going to elaborate them, but they are not going to give a precise answer to that, since we just said that solutions shall be tailored for each country. What we are going to give is a list of more detailed questions to answer to find the best design for every given country. So let's go ahead with the concept listed in this slide. Authorities arrangement. As explained before, vehicle inspection is a governmental activity that only will work if authorities are strong enough, and that includes the way they are arranged. As most of other road safety initiatives, it is necessary to define responsibilities, taking into account the institutional, organizational and operational dimension. Some examples of questions to answer. Vehicle inspection should be managed from a governmental department or ministry, or rather for an on-purpose agency. Which department or ministry should be involved? Transport, internal affairs, industry. So as you can see, those are questions that cannot be answered from a general point of view, but they should be answered for every single country and region. Let's see more details in the following slides. Operations model. A good definition of the operational model is essential. Again, there are some questions to answer in this regard. Who operates? The operator may be a governmental department of ministry or a public agency, private institutions working with some kind of exclusivity to facilitate quality control, or in a free market to be closer to citizens. Or perhaps the right answer is a public-private partnership, PPP, where operations are done by an institution with both public and private control. How the activity is financed. In other words, vehicle inspection is going to cost money, be neutral, or to create incomes for the government. How to reach the fleet. Geography, population, and fleet distribution in the country must be taken into account and carefully analyzed. It's not the same to design a vehicle inspection scheme where population is concentrated around large cities or where the country is formed by islands or areas with difficult access. And what may be one of the most important questions to answer: who controls the activity? Another agency of the government to ensure fairness and neutrality, another private operator. So as you can see here, and again this is something very much necessary to highlight, none of those questions can be answered in a general way for all the countries at the same time. Those questions require a tailored answer and to take into account the specificities of each country. We mentioned before that the control of the activity was key. So following with that point in the previous slide, it's important to appoint a control body, even if operations are undertaken by the government. It is necessary to have an independent organization that controls the controller, giving precise guidance and having the power to sanction when necessary. The quality of inspection is key. The appropriate endeavors must be set in place to ensure that the inspection is performed according to the standards. As mentioned before, this activity involves individuals and may be prone to fraud. Therefore, measures to control and avoid a scam must be developed. Systems have to be designed in such a way that conformity assessment is feasible, and the necessary resources to do so must be in place. Quality control techniques are to be incorporated. For instance, re-inspection of vehicles, mystery shopper, that means the inspection of a vehicle prepared but without the knowledge of the inspection organization, data analysis, which has been proved to be powerful, supervised inspections, audits, etc. A good reference are the international standards for the management of quality systems, like ISO 9000, or more precisely for inspection activity ISO 17000. Again, another important topic: human resources. It is necessary, it is essential to define all the roles related to the assessment of a vehicle, since the inspector to the quality and technical manager. The definition of the role shall include requirements for skill and training, so how to request to the staff getting incorporated to any position related to inspection, initial training and how to assess it, and how to manage the continuous training of the staff involved in inspection and its evaluation. This slide shows some of the aspects to consider when defining facilities: the use of inspection buildings and or mobile inspection sites, which indeed depends on geographical parameters that we saw before in our previous slide, how facilities should be distributed to ensure the geographical coverage mentioned before, the main layout, considering the flow of all vehicle categories being inspected, and the size of the facility, foreseeing the right parking areas and the impact in the traffic of all the zones close to the inspection site, since in some cases inspection site generates a quite important amount of vehicle traffic. Now we are reaching the point of equipment. The definition of the equipment needs to include the specification from the metrological, usability and reliability point of view, the calibration methods to ensure that measuring equipment is giving the right readings, maintenance, both predictive and corrective, and all the registers to follow up all interventions in the equipment as mentioned before. And this is again related to the quality standards we saw in the previous slides. So all this is not only to be undertaken but as well to be properly registered. Data are a very powerful way to control the behavior of inspection sites and its staff, and offer an excellent opportunity to ensure the consistency and to show the results of the system. The right definition of data flows and access facilitates the supervision of activities. Furthermore, data help to ensure that registered vehicles are inspected on time and facilitate the supervisory bodies can control operations. Awareness campaigns are important to show to the population and other stakeholders the benefit of vehicle inspection and to try to reduce the animosity that a mandatory activity may produce in the population. Tuning to the fitness of the fleet. This is another key concept. Vehicle inspection shall be designed in such a way that improves the fitness of the fleet. If the inspection is too soft, vehicle owners won't have the need to repair the vehicles in good shape. On the contrary, if inspection is too rigorous, it may create an overreaction of the population and jeopardize transportation, in particular if the country has not the capability to fix not compliant vehicles. 20 to 25% it's a commonly accepted ratio of failing vehicles. In practice, this means that inspection procedures have to evolve as the fitness of the fleet does. Vehicle inspection impacts society, and therefore several stakeholders are involved. The engagement of those stakeholders is crucial as well. You can see on the screen the list of the most common counterparts involved. A precise analysis should be made in each country to check which are the precise stakeholders to consider and how to manage the communication and the engagement with them. From the governmental point of view, we have the different departments: Department of Transport, Police, Taxation, both for new vehicles, used vehicles entering into the country and the spare parts, Trade, Customs, Communication. From the private point of view, indeed, we have the drivers of the vehicle, the owners, fleet managers, repair workshops, spare part dealers, and all the others that may be identified when dealing with every single country. And as in every list, there is always a last bullet point of miscellanea. In this case, we want to draw the attention to the already available international standards. As said before, and insist very much during the whole presentations, solutions must be tailored for every country, but the already existing may be used as inspiration, in special with regard to the list of items included in the inspection. At the African level, there is a very good example of international approach in the West African Economic and Monetary Union, or in French, Union économique et monétaire de l'Afrique de l'Ouest. At world level, the United Nations hosts the 1997 Agreement of Periodical Inspection of Vehicles. It is remarkable that Nigeria has just been the first African country to sign it. And another good example is the harmonized standard for the inspection of vehicles in the European Union, contained in the Directive 2014/45. We are reaching the end of this session, and now it's time to review the conclusions. So let's see 5 items that try to summarize all the important concepts that we have seen in this presentation. First concept: roadworthiness programs are useful for a better road safety. No need to say it, that this is not in competition with any other kind of initiative. Second, vehicle inspection is a governmental activity. The strength of authority is a must for efficient programs. Third, vehicle inspection is complex. It involves stakeholders within all society levels. Fourth, you may get inspiration in other countries' best cases, though every country requires a tailored solution because all societies are different. Fifth, it is useful and worthy to check already existing international standard. And this is the presentation of the Session 4 Technical Control and Inspection of the Module 6 Safe Vehicles of the Safer Africa project and activities. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope this has been useful and interesting for you. In case of questions or comments, you can address to me in the email below, e.fernandez@citainsp.org. There are additional readings in PDF, and please do not forget to answer the quiz. Have a nice day. Bye.